Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? This is Dan with Two Dudes. Today to talk about one of our tools that we use quite a bit called SELEX. So, SELEX is sort of a platform management device for multi-platforms. We use it mainly just for Amazon. It allows us to essentially gather all of our marketplaces we sell in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, and it allows us to bring everything into SELEX and analyze the data that gets fed into it from Amazon. So it's essentially an analytics platform. Um, so I wanted to kind of just go over exactly what we use it for, what you may be able to find it useful for, some of the pricing of it, just so you don't get scared, and who it's really meant for. So one of the biggest reasons why we got it is we really needed to understand exactly how much we were selling, and what of that was profit. As you know, and you may not know actually, is your individual item sales. So let's say, for instance, you sell a product for $50. Let's say Amazon takes $10 off the top for fees, and then let's say you did like $5 for ad spend. So right off the bat, you're looking at $35, profit. And let's take away the product cost. Let's say it was like $10 for the product, so you're looking at $25 total profit. That's your total profit. I'm sorry, not total profit, profit margin. Within that profit margin, you have to divide it up into capital expenditures, operational expenditures, and your actual profit, your total profit. That's whatever's left over after all of that you can pocket as income. Operational expenditures, just real quick, tend to be like, people that you've hired, tools like this, SELEX, whatever that you're using to help prop your business up. And then your capital expenditures tend to be investments in the business itself. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to invest in FBAing a new product and you needed to order 100 of those items, and it costs $1,000. It's a capital expenditure. So one really neat feature about SELEX is it has a dashboard that shows the sales and profit in a graph. So as long as you accurately record your costs in SELEX, it'll tell you how much you've made off each product, and that's including all of the fees and the cost of the product, cost of goods sold, stuff like that. So it's really, really neat. It's cool to look at, and it gives you an idea of how much you're making, each day. And you can break that down to the item level as well. So that we use that heavily. We needed something like that in our repertoire, so we got SELEX to help us out with that. Another really cool feature of it is the performance dashboard and the adjustments that you can make. So that, like I was talking about, your total profit, your cost of goods sold, this is where you have to record the actual product cost. Right now, they only do per item. They don't do per sale. So it's a little difficult if you're ordering off of, if you're drop shipping and you're ordering off of a supplier and they have a sale, like a $3 sale or something like that. It's difficult to account for that. And I've made a recommendation to get that changed. So hopefully they do, because that will help us out. But you can also look exactly how much you're spending for the product itself, your fees, your advertisements, any promos that you're running. So that really helps you get an idea of what your actual total profit is in your profit margin. That's huge. You're going to need that moving forward because it's going to really show how much you can take home at the end of the day. If, let's say, for instance, your profit margin for a healthy business is 20 to 25%, if you're making $1 million a year, a couple $100,000 is great, but then you have your capital expenditures, operational expenditures, and then whatever's left is your total profit. That's your take home. So, and of course that's fluid. That really depends on, how you plan on divvying it up. It could actually be a lot less. It could be a lot more. It depends on what your profit margin is. If it's like 50 to 60% in some Amazon sales, that's a very real possibility. And then, that'll adjust your profit margin and total profit take home. So that performance table is fantastic. It shows up on the main screen and it shows you how much you've sold today, yesterday, the last 7 days, 15 days, and 30 days. Any sales, your profit margin, your total profit, and your promos, and how many units you've ordered. It's fantastic. I love it. Another really big piece that we needed, we were experimenting with we've experimented with a lot of third-party tools, but this one has PPC Manager built in. So essentially within Amazon, you can drive these things called campaigns that essentially places ads depending on, who your target audience is and how much you're paying for those ads to be shown and if you're winning those ad bids. so people can click on it and then hopefully order your item. That's how you get these, you drive organic traffic to your listings, especially if they're name branded, which is what we do. We do a ton of name branded stuff. So that's tremendous to have in one spot. We didn't want to use another tool for it. Like, we used Solozo for a while. They're fantastic, but we knew it makes more sense for us to use something that already has it built in, so we're not doubling up on our expenses. So the PPC manager allows us to run automated ad campaigns and optimize keywords for each listing. So that in and of itself is a tremendous benefit. So you don't have to keep going to a million different places. You don't have to, do it through Amazon. You don't have to do it through another tool. You can do it all in one spot, which is great. It's what we were looking for, and it helps us out a lot. And it's something that you should probably understand at least a little bit about PPC. The reason why it's so huge is Amazon uses an algorithm to rank you. So that ranking determines on where you get shown, what page, how far up the page. If you're sponsored, the only way to actually get sponsored is if you run ads, and the only way to run ads is if you have the buy box. So just remember that's extremely important. You cannot, ads are pointless unless you have the buy box, and Amazon determines when you get the buy box. It's usually bare minimum 90 days of selling on Amazon. Sometimes can take even longer depending on what you're selling, how big of a niche it is, who else is selling it, stuff like that. And your metrics, your performance metrics are huge too. Like, did you deliver it on time, stuff like that. But it's really cool. SELEX shows what your keyword rankings are per day. So how your keywords ranked if you're running automated ad campaigns with Amazon through SELEX. It'll show you if your keywords are relevant, how relevant, when they were relevant, stuff like that. So that's it's pretty neat to have. It's really nifty. Moving forward, we have a review graph. So that review graph tells you how many reviews you've gotten over what period of time. So reviews are arguably the name of the game when it comes to to selling to in e-commerce. I mean, it doesn't matter what website you're using. If you're Shopify, probably not as much because it's just you selling it. It's just your web store. But when you get to eBay and Amazon, those reviews are critical. And if you have bad reviews, if you're not taking care of your customers, not refunding them, not biting the bullet, and they leave you negative reviews, you are going to be screwed. So this review dashboard is fantastic. So you don't again have to really log into Amazon to to try to find it. Search through your listings. It'll tell you the past 7 days how many reviews you have gotten, good or bad. And then you can see if you click on the reviews, you can see the review, see what listing it was a part of, and stuff like that, which is another fantastic piece to have. There's also some other really cool features that I'm actually still kind of discovering and still trying to get an idea of how to use, and I've started using it a lot. But the biggest one is the buy box. So like I said, it takes some time to get the buy box, especially if you're doing name branded content. You're not selling something that already has a seasoned listing and a ton of people are selling it. If you're name branding your stuff, then getting the buy box just natively it just takes a while. It's not something where you can rush it. It's up to Amazon when they give it to you, and that's all determined again on the algorithm. It depends on ranking, it depends on pricing, it depends on your your review status, stuff like that. There's tons of things to consider. But once you get that buy box, you can then do ad spend and then naturally drive your sales rank up. Get more organic traffic. The listing eventually can then carry itself. But the buy box analyzer will tell you if you've won the buy box, for what listings, and when you did. It is absolutely tremendous. I mean, it's not, you can go into Amazon and you'll go to manage inventory, and if you have a lot of products like we do in the tens of thousands, it's not easy to sift through that, and it's much easier for to get to one page and it tells you have like 50,000 products and 45,000 of them you won the buy box for. And then you can break down individually into each group and parent listing and each child listing to see exactly, which ones won the buy box and which ones didn't. So that'll help you move on to which campaigns you can create the PPC manager. Again, all of this stuff is done through SELEX. Another interesting thing, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but there's the potential for listing hijacking. So essentially, let's say we threw up, Dan Corp threw up a hoodie, and that hoodie was owned by me, maybe or may not be made by me, but it's wholly owned by me, and I own the brand, and whether or not it's trademarked, let's say it is. I don't want anybody else selling that. it's just me. I want to make sure I'm the only one selling it. If somebody else does sell it, if I am trademarked, I can, get them shut down. If I'm not trademarked, at least I'll be able to know if they're selling it under my name or a similar type of product, what competition I have. So you add all of your import all of your products into SELEX, and then you can add those into, product monitoring. I think it's up to like 500 that you can monitor at a time. So I usually, tend to pick a few here and there from each category that we have to monitor exactly what some of our highest moving products. So it's a really cool feature. Another one that kind of goes along with it is product spy. So let's say, for instance, you're interested in getting into selling bar soaps or something along those lines, and you know that you have a major opportunity because there's only one other person selling it. You can actually spy on the other person's product to see how many changes they're making to that product per day. It's growing bigger over time. It's kind of redundant to product market monitoring in many ways, but it's still a pretty neat feature to have. Kind of wrapping up here, another one would be the niche analyzer. So let's say you want to get into selling like bowling equipment or something along those lines. How profitable is selling bowling equipment on Amazon? You want to make sure that before you invest all your time and energy of listing these products, you want to make sure that you're going to make some money off of it. You don't want to have a piddly profit margin of 10%. Or the fees with Amazon you always have to consider. I mean, you want to make sure that you're in that 20 to 60% range, bare minimum 20%, and even then that's kind of rough depending on what you're selling. So the niche analyzer will you can input what you want to sell, bowling balls or bowling bags or whatever. And it'll tell you, okay, this seems like a good niche, seems like a bad niche, here's a reason why. And it'll kind of analyze the competition, who's selling what for how much, and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And the last piece is inventory management. So when you set up SELEX for the first time, it's going to import whatever you have in Amazon, throw it into SELEX, and get you just kind of off the ground. But the inventory management piece will be where you can go to view how much of inventory you have, set up alerts. It's a little bit fancier way of automating your inventory. It's again, another piece. It's just kind of adding on. All these things are like adding on to what Amazon already has and making it 100 times better and just looking at it one place. You can do a lot of that, the inventory management through Amazon, and you're probably going to have to still do some inventory management through Amazon. But at least at SELEX, it makes it a little bit easier because again, it's single pane of glass, one-stop shop. So that really kind of covers what I wanted to go through today with SELEX. I'm going to put together kind of a guide, walk you through what SELEX kind of looks like. They got some all pretty colors and graphs, like sales trends, how much you've sold, revenue share. There's tons of things that I haven't talked about that SELEX has, and I'm gonna add on to this and do a little bit of a deeper dive a little bit later on down the road. But again, it really depends on where you're at in the process. If you're just starting out, if you're already seasoned, a seasoned veteran in e-commerce, if you already have something that works, that's cool. This is something also that you may just give it, it's got a 30-day trial. Just get in there, take a look at it. And the prices are relatively reasonable. I mean, $67 a month up to $5,000 sales per month. If you pay monthly, it's like $47 a month if you pay annually. Yeah, and they have different revenue tiers. So like if you bump up to the 20 to 60,000 a month range, and you get up to your revenue starts exceeding certain thresholds, they'll automatically bump you up. It's usually 30 days after you've hit that mark, which is great because like us, when we get into the holiday season, our sales jump like crazy. So we don't want to be put into a revenue tier that we're not necessarily always in. If we make $100,000 this month and we're only making 60 or 70 normally, the last thing we want to do is get bumped up and be screwed. So SELEX has that built in, which is fantastic. So you can get away with a month and they're not going to kill you. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you guys check it out. They're really cool. Their customer service is fantastic. Like I said, reasonable prices, fantastic use case. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you guys out. We're looking out for you. And yeah, that'll be it for today. Look for another video from moi, and have a good day. Peace.